Hello, 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 and we are live. We are live. I'm just trying to figure out this thing. Just give me a moment. Hi, welcome to Diamond Voices. This is a channel which is dedicated to giving everybody a voice. Everybody has something to say, everybody deserves to speak, and we have a very interesting topic on for tonight. So if you will just hang in there, I will get this stream up and running very shortly. I'm just in the background trying to figure out some technical stuff. So, welcome back. It's me, Maria, and I'm going to be talking about feminism. That is the topic of the day. We're going to be exploring what feminism has become in 2025, the origins of feminism, where are we today, what exactly does it mean for you and I? So I know this is a fairly new live stream, but feel free to jump in at any time. I'm going to leave this running for a little bit. So if you're just strolling by YouTube and you find yourself in here, feel free to jump in the chat and let's get on about it. Now, I am a very, I am a, I am somebody who advocates for people in general. I think I'm a people person. I advocate for women, I advocate for men, I advocate for children, I advocate for humanity. If we think about what's happened to the word feminism over the years, you will find that it's undergone a sort of metamorphosis, if you will, and 2025 was a particularly interesting year. Now, in my introduction to this series, I'm not going to be commenting on another video, running commentary. I think we're going to be doing that subsequently, but I just wanted to provide a general overview to what feminism has become today. I mean, who really is a feminist? Who is a feminist? When we say feminism, what are we talking about? Oh, just ignore that if you will. What are we talking about when we say feminism? It's a movement. It is an ideology as well. And strictly by definition, it's a social, it's a political, it's an economic movement which advocates for equal rights for everybody, equal opportunities, equal treatment of people regardless of their genders, and focusing on addressing and dismantling systemic inequities, especially faced by women. And what a lot of people do not realize, and I would say this is probably willful ignorance. A lot of what people do not realize is when you make things better for a woman, you make things better for everybody. If you're stopping by, please feel free to come up in the chat and talk to me. I'm just going to see if I can I'm going to see if I can send this link out. Okay, it is a new stream, anyways, so we'll just keep talking. You might be watching the replay of this, but I think it's very important that we talk about it. And I'm going to say, please feel free to leave your messages in the chat. If you are somebody who's very passionate about similar topics, if you want to come on and have sensible discourse, this would be the place for you to have it. Now, the way feminism is described has actually changed. I am actually thinking of going into the street and asking people, what is feminism? Literally, every Tom, Dick, and Harry throws the word feminism about, but it will be very interesting to know what they actually think feminism is. What exactly is it? I want to bet you 100% most people do not exactly know what feminism is. Now, very many years ago, the issue was women were not able to advocate for themselves. They didn't even dare to dream that. Women, I would say, if we took things back probably 100, 200 years ago, what really was a woman's role in society? Women could barely own anything. Even till just a few short decades ago, women could not even open bank accounts in most countries of the world, and I'm talking Western countries of the world. So you can imagine what it is like in countries that are not as advanced, where women are still treated as property. So now, think about it. If a woman cannot own anything of her own, or if when women could not own things of their own, what really were the outcomes for their children? What were the outcomes for themselves? Because the outcome of a child, the trajectory of a child's life, depends to an extensive extent on the quality of a mother's life. Now, I hear, and I'm talking about hearing from men that I hold in utmost respect, men I have respect for, men who are supposedly cultured, educated, throwing, the word feminism about in the wrong way, and people saying, oh, feminism is the reason why we have XYZ issues in society. Feminism is the issue why they're single mothers. Feminism and feminism. And do you know what I've said to some of them? By golly, you probably are alive today because of feminism. If your mum was able to have you, keep you alive, nurse you, feed you, raise you, nurture you, teach you, love you, support you, way into adulthood, it's because of feminism. It's likely because several decades ago, some other woman put herself on the line to say, no, I want better for myself. I will dare to argue that feminism is for everybody, and every decent person should be a feminist. What do I mean? What really are the core principles of feminism? Equality. So if I, Maria, as a woman, goes to work and say I'm working as a teacher, I clock in the morning at 8, I clock out at 4 p.m. I want to be paid the same amount of money that Timothy's going to be paid because we've done the same amount of work. Now, if I don't have a physical capacity for some reason to do the work, if I can't, use a jackhammer, I'm not built well enough to do XYZ job, yeah, I'm not going to do it. But if I am in the same space, same level of education, same number of hours, same degree of passion, I expect to be paid the same thing. So that is it, equality. And that equality is not just a need for women, it is a need for everybody, all genders. So we want to be on an equal social footing, an equal political footing, have equal economic rights and equal freedoms. Now, if men, and I'm not male bashing, by the way, not male bashing at all. Love my brothers, love the men in my life. You know, I love them to the moon and back. But think about it. Why would anybody not want another person to get their just due? Is there no inherent problem with that? And if you say, because somebody is being treated fairly, you are suffering a loss or you are being hurt by the fair treatment of somebody else, then you really should be taking a long look in the mirror and ask yourself what exactly is going on with you. Because it sounds like a you problem. If you have to diminish the next person just for you to flourish, it seems like you have a you problem and it's not a them problem. So I mean, it's amazing the metamorphosis that feminism has experienced over the years. We moved from women having absolutely nothing. We moved to an era when male allies, men, also advocated, and perhaps I'm not sure to what degree now, but men were actually part of movements to say, let's get these people on an equal footing. Because it became evident over time that societies that had women who were educated turned out better. Let's take sub-Saharan Africa, for example. I've done a lot of charity work in sub-Saharan Africa, and many of the United Nations programs then were aimed at improving the lives of women and children. It was always a women and children thing, women and children. Yes, there were initiatives that, catered to the needs of men in society, but as far back as then, it was understood that if you improved the outcomes for women and children, naturally the outcomes of a society would improve as a whole. So how did women get to become elevated from their previous positions? Education, of course, is a major tool. So when in 2025, I hear certain segments of society saying women do not have to be educated. I think it's extremely dangerous and regressive. It took us a long time to get here. So it would be incredibly asinine, really, for us to try to undo the progress we've made because people want to feel better about themselves, because men want to feel a bit more macho about who they are. If my dad thought that it was a bright idea to get me educated to a point where I could look after myself, contribute to society, look after other people. Surely that was a good thing. Sometimes I do this thing and, you know, I ask people who really is a feminist. And we've talked about I mean, at the beginning of the stream, I try to set the definitions for feminism, a social, political, and economic movement which advocates for the equal rights, opportunities, treatment of everybody. That's all genders, whoever you are, and focusing on addressing historical and systemic inequities faced by women. What are those systemic and historical inequities? We know that the main way of getting economic equality really is education. Because if a woman is educated or trained in a particular skill to do a job, she's able to do the job. And if she's paid her just due, she's able to support herself. I don't even see the reason why anyone would be against feminism. And I'm speaking, please, if you stop by the stream, I'm talking about feminism in its purest form. I am not talking about what feminism has been contorted to mean. I'm not talking about what feminism means in the echo chambers of certain segments of the internet, of YouTube. I'm talking about what feminism truly is. Who's a feminist? A feminist is a good person. A feminist is somebody who wants to see the next person doing well. It doesn't matter if that person looks like them. It doesn't matter if that person is of a different gender. It doesn't matter whether that person was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, so if that person wasn't. Well, you just want the other person to do well. You don't want that person to be treated unfairly. You're a feminist. So if you were somebody, male or female, who agrees that everybody should be treated fairly, regardless of their color, regardless of their creed, regardless of their gender, everybody has a right to self-govern with limits. I'm not saying people are not subject to their governing authorities, but we're talking about self-governing. If you feel the next person has agency over themselves, if they want to go, let them go. If they do not want to be touched, do not touch them. If they want to eat at a particular time, they have the right to eat if the food's available and if they haven't stolen the food. If you feel somebody deserves the same rights as you do, and if you want the best for yourself and you're able to want the best for the person next to you, by definition, you're a feminist. Because those are the core ideologies of a movement. And I haven't touched on equity, but that's something else related to equality, but it's a bit different. So if you're somebody who wants equality for all, then you are likely to be one who supports equitable policies that would help people to equalize. You are a feminist. Does that offend you? So it's very easy or it's very commonplace to hear a lot of men railing against feminism. Oh, the ills of feminism. Oh, the modern woman. Oh, this, that, and the third. But it is different and quite peculiar, really, when you hear women sitting on the same internet that, is hosting me right now to spew the same sentiments about and against feminism. And I wonder to myself, you are sitting there, dressed very nicely, well fed, healthy, safe, because of the work, because of the sweat, because of the blood, the tears that another woman has put in, has shed before you. So, your glossy, comfortable lifestyle, the fact that you have a right to speak, the fact that you have a right to walk into a bar without being heckled, is because some woman at some point, somewhere, said that wasn't okay and raised her voice against that. That you ever sat in a classroom is because some other person did it. So, women who turn around and begin to rate against feminism, are women really we should be leaving behind in 2025? Now, I am aware that a lot of people, I am aware that a lot of people come on social media and say a lot of things that they may not actually mean. I'll give an example. There are a lot of women who virtue signal, a lot of women who come online saying, "Oh, you've got to be the submissive wife. You've got to be XYZ. Stay home and look after your kids." And these are women who will be, by definition, feminists, who are right there, not sitting at home mute with their kids, but out and about on the internet, trying to recruit young minds into subjugation. So they're a bit deceptive, or very deceptive. That's very deceptive. That means they do not truly believe what they preach. And I think it's really a different kind of a different kind of, is wickedness too strong a word to use, where you want something for yourself. You want to be the only person sitting up there glowing, while you advocate for other women to give up their rights. Your rights are what put you in that position to sit and pontificate to other women coming behind you. You've literally climbed up the proverbial ladder and you've kicked it up so nobody else would climb up. Not very nice. And I think many of those women really, maybe they don't really mean those things. Maybe they say those things to get the approval of men. And then there are, of course, those who are paid by men to further their agenda. So there are women who are paid by men to say these things because it seems to be a bit more palatable when it comes from a woman. When it comes from a woman, it's easy to think it's not a misogyny dressed up in pink lipstick and red high heels. But that's just a woman doing a man's bidding. Once again, this is not a man bashing session. And I will be very clear that not all men share this ideology where women have to be left behind, women should not be educated, women should not get their just due in society. No, I think it's a small Well, it's not a small segment of men. It's a large numbers, an alarming number of men who share those beliefs and propagate those beliefs. And with the rise of the internet and the manosphere, this sort of rhetoric feeds young, insecure minds. It would be a nicer message if people would put out that men should behave better, young men should behave better, young men should take ownership for their successes, their faults, everything, independent of what women are doing. So if women are getting more educated, up your game. And there are very many people on the planet. If you think an educated woman has become the sort of person you that would be incompatible with you, surely rather than rail about women getting more and more enlightened and educated, get yourself somebody who's better suited to you and who you're better suited to. It seems quite easy when you think about it like that. So I'm very eager for us to come back to a place where we can have proper intellectual conversations about what they really are. Sometimes I feel the problem with um, feminism gone awry, the feminism discourse gone awry on the internet is because we've allowed people who are not well versed on the subject matter, or people who do not sufficiently understand the feminist ideology to actually come on and just spew um, ignorance. And more ignorant minds latch onto what they say and absorb what they say. It's terribly concerning. But this stream was just to open up conversations about feminism. Um, I have a few directions I'd like to take this into. This is the first of many streams. We want to reflect on what feminism is, what it has become, what is good about it, what could be improved about it. Do we want to move into 2026 allowing the hijacking of the narrative, the hijacking of a term? These are academic terms. These are intellectual terms, and yet they have been hijacked by the lowest of the low, charlatans, really. So I would hope that we can reclaim the word feminism. We can use it the way it's intended to be used, take back the power in the word, own the goodness of that word. Feminism in itself, holistically, is a virtue. There's been nothing bad ever about anyone being a feminist. It should never be used to shame women or men who propose that people should be treated fairly. So I should like you to subscribe to this channel. It's called Diamond Voices. Please leave messages in the chat box. I will definitely comb through them and respond to them. I am looking for people who are willing to sit and have this discourse very honestly. And I will be introducing myself a bit more robustly. Let's talk about it. Let's have respectful, honest discourse. What is the matter? What has gone wrong? How can society work together better? Because if the women in a society are not healthy and happy, society cannot be healthy and happy as a whole. Thank you very much for staying with me tonight. Like, comment, subscribe. It's been an amazing debut evening with yourselves. Look out for more. Bye for now. Bye bye.